Hello everybody, it's Tim here again, here with another movie review, this time for The Predator. Yes, it's a sequel because they added The Predator. Oh lord. This movie's been pretty much getting mixed reviews, more negative than positive. It's written and directed by Shane Black. I'll say this about the movie. I'm fair with every movie I watch. Some movies I can enjoy despite their problems. Like the Terminator sequels after Terminator 2, I can enjoy despite their problems. Just for the simple fact that I know the Terminator franchise reached its peak at Terminator 2. It just has nothing left to offer. So I just enjoy the other ones as dumb fun Arnold flicks. With Predator, you can do more with this franchise. There can be more done. I feel like you can elevate this. The original Predator is classic. Great flick. I love it. I've done reviews for these if you want to go back and watch them. Original Predator is a classic. I love it. Predator 2 is a passable flick. It's not bad. It's just kind of there. Predators with Adrian Brody is a good flick. It rehashes too much of the original film, but the idea for it is cool. And I liked the new, bigger, more deadly Predators. That was kind of neat. And I liked them being on like a hunting reserve planet. That was cool. And the Predator dogs. Now, Alien vs. Predator, I didn't like, but I found it to be like a passable, dumb B-movie. Aliens vs. Predator Requiem was terrible. This film, honestly, I liked Alien vs. Predator Part 1 better than this film. This is better than Alien vs. Predator Requiem, but it's not better than Alien vs. Predator 1. And if we're just counting the Predator films, this is easily the weakest. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and give my rating from 1 to 4. 4 being great, 3 being good, 2 being okay, low 2 being passable, and a 1, of course, and below being garbage. I'd give this film a low 2 stars. It's a barely passable on-the-line flick for me. The cast here is mostly good. There's not really any bad acting by anybody. Boyd Holbrook, I think's the guy's name who plays the lead. He does a good job. He's good. But the script just does this dude no favors. He does a good job. But he's the weakest hero of the 4 Predator movies I have seen. He's the weakest because his character's the weakest. Olivia Munn also does a good job. But they do that thing in movies where they try to make everybody badass and make characters cuss who shouldn't cuss. It's kind of like in the movie Sabotage with Schwarzenegger, where they got like FBI agents cussing up a storm and everything. Here, Olivia Munn plays a scientist, and she's like constantly cussing, and she's like turns into Rambo with a gun, running around trying to fight predators and whoop their butts. It totally doesn't mesh with the character she's presented to be. It's just like a scientist. It just feels weird and awkward and doesn't fit. Olivia Munn feels out of place trying to be tough. Her actual acting, though, is good. She's not bad here. She's not anything amazing, but she's good. I'd even say I liked her slightly more than Boyd Holbrook. Acting-wise. Honestly, his acting is better than hers, but his character is written, because he's the lead, I expected more from him. And so, it comes off to where she's slightly better. Pretty much, because I have less writing on her character. Pretty much, a predator crashes to Earth. Boyd Holbrook is there and his team. They get killed by the Predator. Which is weird because later on they try to say like the Predator wanted to give something to humanity to help them out. But the Predator is also killing us. And I get it might be self-defense, but at the same time he could have just disarmed everybody and explained his situation in a way, or tried to. But he just starts murdering everyone. It's really weird. The story here is really messy. And this film does feel like a big victim of reshoots. I do feel like this is a film that would have been better in its initial version. And you can feel that it's a victim of reshoots. You can really feel it. Because the story is really messy. Like, at the beginning of it, after the Predator and everything went crazy and killed people, Boyd Holbrook, like, it skips to, like, the next scene. The dude's, like, on the run in Mexico with some Predator tech he's got. And then, like, the next scene after that, he's captured. It's just like, there's no cohesiveness in the editing. You can tell they've really reshot this. This movie feels like something that would be better in a director's cut. But anyway, so then that's when they bring in Olivia Munn. Jake Busey is there as the son of Gary Busey's character from Predator 2. That was cool, but he only literally is in the movie for like one scene. And of course, the Predator like wakes up in the lab where the people are trying to experiment on it, and it like goes crazy and starts killing everybody. That was kind of fun. There's some funny humor here. And one scene where the Predator like jumps into the back of this vehicle and like slices all these soldiers up, and the dude who's driving like says, "You guys okay back there?" And he like picks up one of their arms and like holds it up there, to make the dude think that everything's fine. That was funny. But another problem with this film is there's way too much friggin' comedy. Way too much comedy. The biggest problem with this film is it doesn't feel like a Predator film, like at all, until the climax. And even after that, it barely feels like a Predator film. This is like Shane Black taking Predator, making his own film, and using the Predator story as like kind of like the backdrop. It's really weird like that because of that. This does not feel like a Predator film at all. Like, those films in franchises to where they're in the franchise, but they really don't feel like they should be there, like they're really out of place. Like Jason Goes to Hell and Friday the 13th, totally different. A completely different movie. Does not feel like a Jason flick. This does not feel like a Predator movie. This feels like any comedy action sci-fi flick, but with the Predator. Honestly, I think if you just go into the film and watch it as just a random sci-fi flick, a random action comedy, and not even think of it as a Predator film, you'd probably really like it. It doesn't feel like Predator at all. And the main character has a kid who has autism, which is fine. The actor does a good job. And the kid is, some reason his autism gives him the ability to, like, decode the Predator's language and everything. It's really weird. And they make this really stupid claim later on in the movie where, like, Olivia Munn's like a scientist. She's like, autism is the next step in human evolution. And that's why the Predators want this kid, because he's the next step in human evolution. It's like, what? That's so stupid. The Predator starts like going after Boyd Holbrook and everybody. And then there's this bigger super Predator shows up, and you find out the Predators have been like upgrading themselves. So it's kind of like, is this supposed to be the explanation for like the super Predators in the movie Predators with Adrian Brody? Is this supposed to be like the explanation for them? Because even though when I see the super Predator, who's like, the Jason of Predators, Jason Voorhees of Predators, it's just like, it's a little overkill, because he's like so big it's kind of ridiculous. It would have done better if like they had upgraded themselves in ways to where they were still like their normal selves, but they were maybe slightly bigger, or they had like extra abilities that they didn't have, beforehand. And there's a really funny scene where the regular Predator's escaping the facility, the military facility, and he actually uses a human gun. He's just like swinging it around shooting people. That was pretty funny. But this movie just comes like with really forced humor, just like constantly, and it doesn't fit the tone of the film. It doesn't jive with a Predator movie. It feels out of place. It's just like constant. And then Boyd Holbrook hooks up with this team of all these different like people, military people with mental problems and stuff, like post-traumatic stress and everything. And Thomas Jane and the dude from Key and Peele, who I actually like. Him and Thomas Jane were the two most likable members of the team, and they were the ones that I felt the most sorry for when they died, because they build them up as friends, and then when they get killed and they're dying, they like execute themselves. Thomas Jane goes out in a really cool way, like they set the big Predator on fire, and he like jumps on him, he's like stabbing the hell out of him, and he like gets slung on a tree and gets stabbed, and then the dude from Key and Peele gets shot with like I believe it's like a spear thing or something, but then they like execute themselves because they're friends. That was really cool. That's one of the problems I have with this film. Like, this whole film, Olivia Munn's character, even though she does a good job acting-wise, should have just been excised from the whole movie. This whole film would have been much better had it just centered around Boyd Holbrook and just this team of like post-traumatic stress people or whatever. Just have it to be where he gets some of the Predator's technology, he gets took to the military place, and he ends up getting sent on this bus with these other post-traumatic people. And they all team up because they're being hunted by the Predator, who wants his technology back. Keep it simple. There's no reason to have like this kid with magic autism or whatever. You don't need that. You don't need this. This felt more like a Shane Black movie than a Predator flick, and that's the biggest problem with this movie. The Super Predator kills the other Predator by like bashing his face in, which was kind of neat. And there is some fun gore here. Like when I saw the first preview for this movie, it felt really PG-13. But when you actually see the movie, there's some really cool, fun gore here. Sorry about that. Let me adjust that there. Once again, I'm in my vehicle where the light goes off after so long. But yeah, there's some really fun gore here. Like the Predator like shoots a rope out and it like decapitates like 3 people. That was cool. Oh gosh, the worst part for me in this whole film, there's the Predator dogs from Predators. They come back here and they're like hunting after the people, and like one of them gets like domesticated and is playing fetch. That does not feel like a Predator film at all. It feels like a Shane Black thing. Does not feel like a Predator film. This is, like I said, this is like Shane Black wanted to take Predator and just do his own thing. I do have a feeling this film would have been better in its original cut, but at the same time, it still wouldn't have felt like a Predator film. This does not feel like Predator at all. Like, literally, at all. And then you get to the climax, and the Super Predator's like hunting them all in the woods, and there's this main guy who's like after Boyd Holbrook because he wants the technology back, and he wants to get on the Predator ship that they have. And he just ends up killing himself by accident. Like he's messing around with the Predator's cannon on his shoulder. The dude literally just blows himself up like an idiot. It's really stupid. And the main Predator they end up taking out kind of rather easy. They get on to the ship, the Predator ship. He's taking the kid back because they want to study him pretty much because they think autism is the next step in human evolution. Okay. But yeah, and so Boyd Holbrook jumps on the ship with this other guy, and they want to get in. 2 other guys. One of them's like this black dude who's like, he's pretty cool, but his the way he dies, it just kind of seems like an afterthought. He gets on the ship and he wants to help Boyd Holbrook, and he just like jumps himself into commits suicide into one of the engines of the Predator ship to take it out. The dude, his acting was fine, but he didn't have much to his character at all. Like, they have so many of the post-traumatic stress-like characters and everything, they just don't have enough time to balance them and bring them together as a cohesive team. It would have worked better had this just been the team. But yeah. And so he ends up getting on the ship. They blow the big Predator's like legs off. Like Olivia Munn is invisible. She jumps on the Predator. Somehow she was able to find him in the middle of the woods. She jumps on the big Predator. They end up blowing its legs off. Olivia Munn and Boyd Holbrook survive and the kid. So it's pretty predictable who's going to live. He walks over to it and he just kind of like caps it in the face a couple times, which was funny. I like that. And then the movie ends in a really cheesy way. They get the Predator's thing. The regular Predator was trying to give them this technology, and it opens up, and this device jumps on him, and it's called the Predator Killer, which is really cheesy. And it transforms this big Predator battle suit, which is kind of cool. And Boyd Holbrook's like, my new suit, and that's how it ends. With pretty much a setup for a sequel. Interesting ending setup for a sequel. The Predator Killer is really lame as a name. But interesting idea for a sequel. This film has a lot of flaws. The story here is really messy. I'm sure the original cut would have been better, but just going by what I see, the story here is messy. They should have just eliminated the Olivia Munn character, not because she's bad in the flick, she's not. They should have just eliminated her, and not even had like Boyd Holbrook's team at the beginning be killed. Just have this be his team, and have it be like they're all post-traumatic stress people. And he is like, kept them together because they're his team and his comrades. And at the beginning, they see the Predator and they're all getting like shipped off. And just have it to be to where him and his team like escape because they're being hunted by the Predator. This could be really easily fixed just by simplifying it and tone down the comedy. There's way too much forced comedy here. Like Thomas Jane's character, who I do like, him and the guy from Key and Peele were the best, were the most likable characters of the movie. But he has bad forced comedy bits, and even the guy from Key and Peele does too. Where he like has Tourette's syndrome, and every now and then he just like screams stuff out, and they'll spend like a 20-minute conversation talking about pussy. It's really stupid. Really forced. And they make Olivia Munn like trash talk like a lot. And I get the idea. They want to be like, well, she can hang with the boys, you know what I'm saying? But it just feels so forced and doesn't make sense for a character of a scientist to walk around saying stuff like that. It doesn't fit. All in all, it's a low 2-star flick, a passable movie. Not the worst thing I've ever seen, but easily the worst Predator flick. But there's potential here. This could be done. This could be fixed in a sequel. There's potential. But this is a pretty lame movie, I'll be honest. Would I buy the flick? Maybe if I found it for like $2 just to complete my Predator collection. It is a pretty big letdown. All in all, just pretty much it's a one watch. This is the type of movie I'm probably never going to watch again unless I'm having like a Predator marathon or something. But it's mostly just kind of a waste of time. Unless the director's cut comes out and it's a lot better. But yeah, it's just mostly a waste of time. I'll see you guys again with the next review.